Hey, Courtland. Thanks so much for joining. Delighted that you can join us in London on November the 14th.
Thank you
Um,
for having me.
oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. You're part of the Douglas Marketing Solutions team. Um, you told me that you're a Canadian, but we'd love to hear a little bit more about your backstory. But first, tell us a little bit about your role within Douglas, who are certainly acknowledged as one of the leading exponents of retail media in the German market.
Thank you. I'm currently the team lead for retail media technology and innovation at Douglas Marketing Solutions, but my journey in advertising started in 2016. I began my career in advertising at a startup in esports. It was an ad network with monetization rights to Twitch TV in EMEA. It was a fast-paced environment. I gained a lot of technical expertise very quickly. Early on, we had to migrate our ad server from LiveRail to DoubleClick for publishers because Facebook was phasing out LiveRail at the time. DoubleClick wasn't prepared at all for like such a large volume of live stream video inventory, so we found ourselves in a constant collaboration with Google to iron out all the bugs. And this really taught me a lot about the technical infrastructure of ad serving. So over time, Amazon acquired Twitch, which changed the strategy of the company that I was working at. It moved more into the direction of editorial websites and the open internet. So I was involved in everything from setting up major SSPs to deploying pre-bid. I handled campaigns. I did programmatic media buying. I worked in several social media networks. I was also responsible for implementing a consent management platform when GDPR came into law, and I ran RFPs for DMPs and implemented them with the team. So basically, I did everything that could be done in advertising from like a publisher ad network perspective, hands on, and that really gave me a strong technical foundation for my future role. So this experience led me to be headhunted to join Douglas Marketing Solutions as their first tech hire, where I was responsible for launching our on-site retail media solution. I also navigated a tech switch from our previous sponsored product solution to our current one. Retail was completely new to me, and it's still an area that I'm constantly learning about, especially since retail and advertising are so vast on their own. But having a deep technical knowledge on the mechanics behind ad serving, from tracking to implementing different ad formats, really helped me in rolling out a solid on-site offering in 2021. And my successes in that project and others have earned me a promotion. And now, alongside my team, we've been expanding our retail media network strategy and our portfolio.
Great, that's really interesting. So you have a very strong technical background that I'm sure is very helpful to you. Tell me a little bit about some of the successes that Douglas have enjoyed in retail media over the years.
So I would say the four key pillars to having success as a retail media network is one, finding your in. In retail media, there are countless internal and external stakeholders to get on board, and not all of them are going to be enthusiastic right away. So you have to identify white spots, untapped areas where you can demonstrate the potential of retail media, and that was key to proving our case. The next one is getting your buy-in. So retail media is disruptive, and often teams have different goals or priorities. So securing the C-level support was crucial for us because without the backing of the executive committee, it's impossible to scale. Then the next one that was super important was branding. This was one of the biggest things I learned from my boss, Jessica Bigner. Building a strong B2B retail media network brand brings immense value. I've seen many retail media networks fade into obscurity in the minds of advertisers and top talent because they didn't prioritize their marketing. And then the fourth learning I have is to learn retail. It's not just enough to know about advertising when you work in retail media. you need to be able to bridge the gap and speak the language of retail and not work in a complete silo.
Yeah, no, that's very good, and I'm sure many folk would echo all of those. So, what about some of the challenges that you're facing?
Yeah, there's been quite a few challenges, and they're all fairly complex. So the first one that I have to share is project complexity. So people often talk about going after low-hanging fruits, but in my experience, they don't really exist. I think it's a much better strategy to aim for moonshots to really move the needle and to see success in your retail media network. Next one is, I would say, grocery centricity in thought leadership. Outside of Amazon, when you're looking into any sort of market research or LinkedIn posts around retail media to inspire your strategy and how you position it internally, you often have a lot of insights around grocery. But Douglas is a beauty retailer, and it's also in a premium and luxury positioning, and that's very different from what you see in the groceries, and translating the learnings from others has always been a bit tricky to understand it in a beauty context. Then the third
Cool.
one I have, sorry.
Mhm.
The third one I have is balancing startup and corporate. So retail medias are corporate startups. Having a strong startup mentality is crucial in the early stages, but eventually you need to find that balance and create a plan to transition to more corporate structures. Finding that sweet spot can definitely be a challenge when you go from needing to do what you need to do to get things live to moving to bridging the gap and crossing the chasm of what it means to be a startup to be more integrated into a corporate structure and following the processes that are in place.
Yeah,
And then
very interesting. Mhm.
And then finally, the fourth point, internationalization. So retailers in Europe often operate in different markets. Each country has its own language, both literally and figuratively. Standardization is so important to how you roll across each of these different markets, but getting there is really challenging.
Can you remind us how many markets Douglas operates in, Courtland?
Yeah, Duke, for our retail media offering, we're currently operating in 9 markets, but Douglas Group as a whole is across much of continental Europe.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Cool. Very good. And like I say, you've kindly agreed to join us on November the 14th, and you're going to be interacting with other retail media network operators from around not just Europe but also the Middle East. Some leading retailers like Tesco, Ocado. We have Majid Al Futtaim and S Group from Scandinavia, for example. Not forgetting Ahold Delhaize and
Yes.
Nectar. What are the areas or the topics that you're hoping to learn a little bit more about or find out about?
I've met a lot of the different people working in these retailers already, and whenever we come together and talk about retail media, we learn so much from each other, and it's always been immensely helpful. So I'm super excited to see Maurits from Ahold and the rest of the people at the conference, and really excited to see what they have to say.
Superb. Well, we're going to be looking forward to hosting you, and once again, delighted you can make it, and thanks also for sharing those preliminary thoughts today.
Thank you.